Welcome to episode 12 of Discovering Nagasaki from Local. My name is Chad, and this is where you can experience everyday life in this scenic and fascinating part of Japan. I'd like to thank all the people who regularly watch my ongoing vlogs. So far, only one person was able to correctly answer last week's vlog questions. Once again, congratulations go out to Jack Garrett. The first question was, which green vegetables did I make tempura with in last week's cooking video? The answer is togarashi peppers, okra, bell peppers, and goya. The second question was, what is the name of the river which borders the Dejima Museum in Nagasaki? The answer is the Nakashima River. Although Jack was correct to point out that most togarashi peppers are red when they are ripe, the ones I used last week are manganji togarashi peppers, and they are green when they are ripe. The rice crops in Omura are healthy and almost ready to harvest now. Richard Lempart asked me whether the Japanese were introduced to tobacco by the Portuguese or the Dutch. According to Wikipedia, the Japanese were introduced to tobacco by Portuguese sailors in 1542. 2 days ago I uploaded a special slideshow video entitled Nagasaki Blooming 75. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and it features many of my best photos over the past few years. Take a look and see if you can name the 17 flowers that I included in this video. In today's 45-second kanji crash course, I want to introduce 15 more peripheral kanji particles. Above more complex kanji are caress, human, rain, and around more complex kanji are cliff, building, sick, travel, step, enclosure. And below more complex kanji are animal legs, heart, fire, body, and in various positions with more complex kanji is drop. In today's vlog, I will show you how to make delicious organic pumpkin buns in our bakery with pumpkins from our garden. I will also show you many antique Japanese artifacts in a popular museum near Senogi's Michi no Eki. Let's get started. In order to make our organic pumpkin buns, we use the following ingredients: 730 grams of flour, 65 grams of brown sugar, 22 grams of skim milk powder, 22 grams of butter, 11 grams of salt, 70 grams of organic yeast, and 330 grams of pumpkin pulp mixed with a small amount of water. We put all these ingredients into this mixing bowl and mix it for about 8 minutes, and then we let the resulting dough rise in this sealed plastic container. For today's buns, we've let the dough rise slowly at room temperature for 2 days. This dough is ready when it expands to fill the plastic container. I need to take off the lid, take out the paper pumpkin label, and saran wrap on top of the dough. I will now weigh out 33 portions of dough weighing 38 grams each using this cutting board and a dough scraper. For brevity, I will only show how the first 2 portions are done. Now I'll show you how to form the dough to get a smooth round surface on top. I will use both hands like this to flatten the dough, roll it into a ball, and then slowly pinch off the edges on the bottom portion of the bun. Once all of the creases are pinched off, I turn the dough over and carefully roll the dough on my left hand. Then I just put it on a silicone sheet here. Here are the 33 dough portions I just formed. I will now put this tray in the proofer where it will sit at 40 degrees Celsius in a humid environment for about 2 hours. It's 2 hours later, and now I will take these buns, which have gotten quite a bit larger, out of the proofer and set them down on this counter. I will spray the buns with some water to prepare the dough for the oven. When I put this tray into the oven, I don't need to use oven mitts. The buns will bake at around 200 degrees Celsius for 16 minutes before they're ready. The 16-minute timer on the oven is about to ring, so now I'll turn it off. Here's what the pumpkin buns look like when they come out of the oven. Notice that at this point I definitely need to wear an oven mitt to take this tray out. I'll set it down on this counter and eventually transfer the buns to a metal grill to cool off. Here are some cinnamon rolls and 2 different types of raisin bread that are cooling off on our metal grills. And this is one of the bags of pumpkin buns that we prepared today. Normally 5 buns in one bag with a kabocha pan or pumpkin bun label on it. I am now at Senogi's Michi no Eki, or roadside station, between Omura and Sasebo. Senogi is famous in Japan for its many award-winning tea orchards. This eki is a popular tourist attraction, with a market on the left, a restaurant, and an interesting antique museum 50 meters from here in this direction. And here is the museum that I will take you through today. As I pan to the right, you can see some of the other exhibits that they have here. Behind the green knoll is the water wheel I just showed you. On the first floor, Senogi's museum is a Noguten, an antique farming tool exhibition. On the right, you can see some antique hoes, kama, and further on some animal-drawn plows on display. Above you can see 2 antique woven farming shawls, and below some animal-drawn rakes and animal harnesses. This is a straw shawl. Here are antique rakes, an animal-drawn seed rake, and various rotary machines for processing rice straw. These are rotary weeding tools for use in rice paddies. These are antique hand and foot-powered rice thrashers on display. The next 3 crank-driven machines were used to remove rice husks from harvested rice. This cylindrical wooden device was used to pulverize rice into rice powder. The machine beside it was used to separate rice from its bran in the old days. I'm not sure what the next 3 machines are, but it looks like they are rice sieves. The only signs that they have on them warn you not to touch the displays. Above and around these sieves you can see some farming wicker ware on display. This crank-driven machine with a spool on it was used to draw and weave rope from rice straw. Upstairs there's a museum with many other types of Japanese kurashi antiques. On the left are 2 sorobans and a mechanical calculator. In the next display cabinet are pillows, armrests, and an old electric fan. Here are some formal men's hats, getas, and kimono bags. Over here you can see some antique clocks, wooden and metal pots for food and water, and some antique lanterns. Over here in this display you can see some antique hair clippers, brass mirrors, female hair accessories, hand warmers, and below utampo or foot warmers that people used in their beds. In this display cabinet over here are some antique machines and cabinets for sewing and knitting. These are large porcelain urns for storing water. Above is a washboard and basin, and below are many examples of portable hand scales. This globe-shaped device is actually an old crank-driven washing machine. Here are some more scales, some wooden cabinets, and a mailbox. Here you can see many iron pots and kettles on display. 2 porcelain bowls, rice cookers, wickerware, and on top, wooden steamers. The sign above reads, Mukashi no Kurashi Ten, an exhibition of antique artifacts that were used in day-to-day life. Here is a display with an antique speaker and 3 record turntables. And finally, here are antique binoculars, cameras, a projector, a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and 2 telephones. And now for this week's challenging questions. First, how many trays of bread were in the proofer before I put the pumpkin buns in the oven? Second, what antique artifact was between the speaker and the turntable in Senogi's museum? Please continue to support my vlog channel by giving this vlog a thumbs up and by leaving a comment, a question, and or a suggestion below. In our bakery we make 12 types of buns like I showed you today. Buns with pumpkins, beets, spinach, yomogi, carrots, black rice, soybeans, genmai rice, onions, sesame, whole wheat, and jute. Last week I showed you a cooking demo, and today I showed you a baking demo. That means that next week I will show you a farming demo. I upload my next episode on Sunday, October the 11th. See you next week.